Welcome to Silent and Taylees. I hope you enjoy this story. Now, let's begin.
It wasn't until the moment before my death that I realized. My parents had something terrifying: an exchange system. They could trade any chance or resource between me and my brother, deciding both our lives as they wished. I studied day and night, hoping to enter a top university. I pushed myself until my body broke down, coughing up blood, and being hospitalized again and again. But in the end, the results I earned were transferred to my brother. The admission letter I dreamed of holding ended up in his hands. And me? I could only take his low scores and apply to a second-rate school. On my deathbed, the last thing I heard was my parents' cold, emotionless voices. "You were born to serve your brother. Dying for him is your honor." At that moment, my whole body turned cold. I finally understood. They never saw me as their real child. In their eyes, I was nothing but a background character in my brother's story. A tool to trade, to sacrifice, and once I was no longer useful, they discarded me without hesitation. But when I opened my eyes again, I was back, right before the college entrance exam. I swore to myself, no more exchanges. No more sacrifices. This life belongs to me. At that moment, I looked into my mother's hopeful eyes. "Ryan," she asked gently, "did you do well on your mock exam?" I froze for a second, and then it hit me. I had been reborn. Now it's 1 month before the real college exam. I just finished my last mock test. As soon as I stepped into the house, my mom asked about my results. Meanwhile, my brother, Victor Wu, was sitting on the sofa playing games. Next to him, my dad was peeling an apple and handing it to Victor with a warm, loving smile. Everything was exactly the same as my previous life. In my past life, I honestly told my mom that I was confident about getting a high score. Right after that, she asked me a strange question. "If you could, would you trade your results with your brother?" Back then, I thought it was just a joke, just a harmless question. I agreed, thinking it would make my parents and my brother happy. But I never expected that simple answer would destroy my life. My brother used my scores to enter the top university I had always dreamed of. People called him a genius. And me? My parents refused to pay for me to study again. With a score of just over 300, I could only apply to a small, unknown college. I studied hard and tried my best to change my life. But when I finally got a chance to apply for graduate school, my brother took that away too, just to make himself look even better. After that, I completely lost hope. I had to admit it. No matter how hard I tried, I was just a fool who could never win. Later on, my brother married into a wealthy family. His life was perfect: money, fame, and love. And me? My parents started forcing me to go on blind dates. They wanted me to marry a woman 15 years older than me, a restaurant owner, who had been divorced twice, but had some money. That was the moment I decided to leave home. I wanted to live my own life, even if I had nothing. But I never thought they would come for me again. This time, they brought me an offer. My father said, "If you agree to give your heart to your brother, we won't force you to marry anymore. After that, you can live however you want." I thought their idea was ridiculous. Everyone knew my brother's illness couldn't be cured by a heart transplant. So I agreed, thinking it didn't matter anyway. But I didn't know. From that moment on, my life had already started counting down. My brother, once weak and dying, suddenly got better. He could walk, talk, and laugh like a completely normal person, as if he had never been sick at all. And me? I was left waiting for the day my heart would stop beating. I looked down at my wrist, then at my brother's. Both of us had the same small red dot. It wasn't a mole. It was a mark made by the system. Ryan, why are you spacing out? I'm talking to you. My mom waved her hand in front of me, bringing me back to reality. Once again, I was facing the same question from my past life. This time, I still nodded. Yeah. I think I can get a top score. I knew it. My son is amazing. She smiled proudly, just like before. Then her eyes flashed, and her voice slowed, filled with hidden meaning. If there was a chance to trade your exam results with your brother, would you agree? I pretended to hesitate. My brother's a genius, I said softly. He'll definitely get into a top university. If we trade, it wouldn't be fair to him. But my mom kept pushing. It's just a what if. Come on, just say yes. Then my dad spoke up too. Just listen to your mother. It'll make her feel better. Her health depends on it. That line. I had heard it so many times that I went numb. In my past life, those words made me give in every time, and in the end, they buried my whole life. I turned to Victor and asked softly, "Brother, do you want to trade?" He kept that arrogant, dismissive look on his face, not even glancing at me. Trade what? Your lousy grades? You can barely get into a community college. Have some self-respect. If you're not smart, at least work harder. Stop dreaming. He was just like in my past life. Neither of us knew about the exchange system. He thought he was a genius, and I was the fool. Hearing his answer, I smiled. If he doesn't agree, then I don't either. No, my mom shouted, her voice full of anger. It's just a hypothetical question. Why can't you even say yes? We worked so hard to raise you, and you can't even say one word to make your mother happy? And besides, your grades were nothing compared to your brother's. If he's willing to trade with you, that's a blessing. How can you be so ungrateful? I looked at her with an innocent face and said softly. But he was the one who refused first. My mom turned to my brother, and her attitude changed immediately. No more anger. She walked over to him gently, her voice sweet. Victor, this is my wish. Will you agree, sweetheart? My brother glanced at her indifferently, then turned back to his game. Seeing my mom so anxious, I suddenly remembered my past life. When I was on my sickbed, I happened to overhear my parents talking about the system. They said the system only works if both sides agree. If one side refuses, the trade won't happen. The host could force the trade, but the system would punish them. In my past life, I always obeyed my mother, so she never had to force a trade. But this time, I wanted to see what would happen if the system pushed back. In the end, to be able to play his game in peace, my brother finally nodded, agreeing with my parents. They immediately turned to me, their eyes pressing. Since your brother has agreed, you should agree to trade your exam results too. I shook my head. He's right. A person must have some pride. Even if it's just a hypothetical, I have to rely on my own effort, not this chance. My mom shoved me hard on the shoulder, glaring with anger. Your brother already agreed. Just say yes. The push was so strong that I fell, my arm hitting the floor. It hurt so much, my face twisted, and my arm went numb. In that moment, I noticed my mother's eyes suddenly narrow, staring at something in the air, something we couldn't see. The next second, her face quickly showed shock and helplessness. I guessed, maybe the system had just reminded her not to force me. It definitely wasn't because she felt sorry or softened toward me. Sure enough, she just glared at me one more time, and then fell silent, saying nothing, not even helping me up. After that, I noticed my mom wasn't just silent with me. She didn't speak to anyone in the family. It lasted a full day. I guess the system had punished her, making her stay silent. I let out a quiet sigh of relief. The next morning at breakfast, I saw a peeled egg in my bowl. Usually, only my brother would get this kind of special treatment. I peeled one egg myself and ate it, leaving the already peeled one untouched. My dad looked a little surprised. Then he pushed the soft-boiled egg he had just made toward me. "Eat it while it's hot. I know you like it," I said calmly. "Thanks, Dad, but soft-boiled eggs are for my brother. I like hard-boiled eggs." My dad looked a little awkward. I ignored it and kept eating. He seemed like he wanted to say something, but didn't. I finished breakfast quickly. When I picked up my school bag, Dad looked surprised. "Why are you leaving so fast? You've only been eating for 3 minutes." I replied coldly, "I always eat fast. You two are used to waiting on my brother, so you probably think I eat like him, taking half an hour." Seeing me get ready, Dad quickly called out, "I'll drive you to school." I thought for a moment and nodded. Once in the car, I pretended to sleep, saying nothing. Then Dad's voice came next to my ear. "It's still early. Why are you up so early today?" I kept my eyes closed and calmly said, "I wake up at this time every day." "That's not true. There's no bus this early. Did you walk to school?" "I use the bus waiting time to study English vocabulary. If you don't believe me, you can ask Mr. Lee, the bus driver." Dad went quiet. I didn't know if it was because he felt guilty for not paying enough attention to me. Or maybe he was thinking of how to make me agree to trade my exam results for my brother. The whole way, he didn't say another word. When we reached the school gate, I opened the door and stepped out. Dad quickly asked, "Should I take you to your classroom?" I smirked slightly. "Okay. But do you even know where my class is?" Dad froze, looking confused. I didn't look at him again and turned to walk away. His voice called after me, "No matter how imperfect we are, we're still the ones who gave you life and raised you. Your mom isn't very healthy. If she wants something, just try to give it to her. It's only a few words to make her happy." I smiled quietly. Finally, he spoke his intention. I turned back, gripping my bag strap, my voice calm but carrying frustration. "Dad, Mom has asked me questions like this so many times. I want to know, why does she always want me and my brother to trade things? Since elementary school, she asks every month. Could any of this even be possible?" My dad's face shifted slightly. "Of course not. She just overthinks." He smiled faintly. "That habit isn't healthy. I'm worried it's too much for her mind." I gave a small, cold smile. "That's why I can't just give in. If you have time, take her to see a doctor. Don't make me lie to her anymore." A few weeks later, the mock exam results came out at school. As always, my brother, Victor Wu, was at the top, the brilliant but proud genius. But my name wasn't on the list at all. After all, before this exam, I had agreed to swap our results. And this time, the system did exactly what she wanted. That night, my brother proudly posted his score, 715 points, on social media. It got hundreds of thousands of likes, and more than 50,000 comments. When someone asked for study tips, he simply said, "The test was so easy. Do you really need tips to pass?" People flooded the comments, saying, "Geniuses really do live in another world." In my past life, it was precisely his title as a genius that made him a social media star, and later helped him enter the entertainment world. Back then, I didn't have the same resources as him, and my parents couldn't use me for any exchanges. But over time, because his knowledge was limited, he kept making a fool of himself on variety shows. Still, because of his genius label, people thought his mistakes were just for show. Some even called him cute. Watching that video again, I quietly spent money to help it spread further. I knew, the higher he rose, the harder he would fall. One day, after school, my parents suddenly appeared at my classroom door, smiling. "Ryan, let's go home. Mom made your favorite dish today." I thought to myself, this must be another trick to make me agree to a trade. I shook my head. No need. I've already checked into the dorm. I won't go home until the college entrance exams are over. My mom froze, then shouted, "What? How can you stay in the dorm without asking us?" Just then, my homeroom teacher, who had overheard, stepped forward to explain. "Ryan's mom, staying in the dorm, will be more convenient for him. He can focus on studying, and it also helps reduce the burden on you." "No. That's not allowed," my mom snapped. She grabbed me, almost forcing me. "If you agree to swap your college exam results with your brother, you can stay in the dorm." I shook my head firmly. "No. I won't swap. No matter what. I won't." Smack. A sudden slap made my head spin. The homeroom teacher quickly stepped in, shielding me and scolding my mom. While they argued, I quietly walked back to the dorm. I opened my books to study, but word of what happened spread fast. My brother was already famous online, so people paid even more attention to our family. Someone had recorded the conversation between my mom and me and posted it online. This caused a huge wave of reactions. Many doubted my brother's achievements, though there was no proof. News about my parents favoring him spread fast, even on education channels. Many netizens sympathized with me and questioned my parents. "Why are you so biased toward him?" They even questioned my brother. "Why didn't you protect your younger brother?" Not long after, my brother posted on social media. "First, the rumors about swapping scores are completely false. Every achievement I have comes from my own hard work. Second, my parents suggested swapping my results to help my younger brother, not because they favor me. Third, if my college exam scores were lower than my brother's, I would give up my inheritance willingly." This post immediately sent my brother's name to the top of the trending topics. At the same time, my parents also posted videos supporting him, saying it was all just a joke. His fans fully believed him, thinking he would use his college exam results to clear all doubts. As for me, from start to finish, I didn't say a single word. I just kept studying, day and night in the dorm. The college exam happened on time. This year's test was exactly the same as in my past life. I knew all the answers, but I deliberately filled them in according to my brother's level. Because I knew my parents would use the system to swap our results. As soon as we left the school gate, a crowd of reporters was already waiting. My brother was surrounded like a star. Someone asked, "Was the test hard?" He smirked. "Hard? I don't know. I finished it in just half an hour." Another reporter turned the microphone to me. "Little brother, was the test hard?" I replied calmly, "I'm not really sure. It should be fine." A few giggles rang out around us. Kids who aren't good at studying are all like this. They can't even tell the test's difficulty. From afar, my mom gave a quiet, relieved smile. On the day the exam results were announced, my parents went live. They smiled and talked to the viewers. "Yes, our Victor got 715 on his last mock exam. Everyone said this year's test was easier, so his score will probably be even higher. As for Ryan, there's not much to say. He's never been good at studying. His last mock score was only 321. Thank you for your concern. We've always treated both of our sons fairly. The things people said online about favoritism aren't true. Because Victor is just too good, people think we love him more. But actually, we care about Ryan even more. As they spoke, viewers kept sending hearts non-stop in the live chat. But not everyone believed them. There's no proof. Anyone can talk big online. Then my dad suddenly jumped in. If Ryan scores over 350 this time, we'll give him an apartment. He laughed loudly at the camera. My mom quickly nudged him, giving a warning look. But Dad just winked, as if to say, Ryan will never get that score. His points already belong to his brother. Right on time, my parents were very excited. They pointed the camera at the computer, ready to check the scores. My older brother just relaxed on the sofa, playing games, not caring at all. Mom said, "Let's check Ryan's score first." As soon as she typed my exam number, my score appeared, 321 points, exactly the same as in my previous life. My parents looked at each other and smiled secretly, making sure the camera didn't catch it. People online started commenting, "Still consistent. Consistently bad." Some even mocked me. "This score is just average. No wonder your brother dared to give up his inheritance." While everyone was talking, my dad typed my brother's exam number. He pretended to be secretive, covering the score, and slowly pulling his hand away. First, the number 0 appeared in the unit's place. My parents smiled with delight. Could it be a perfect score? My brother raised an eyebrow, speaking lazily, just as expected. Seeing that, Dad stopped hiding it and let go. The score 320 appeared clearly on the screen. Their smiles froze instantly. The comment section exploded. Trying to be valedictorian with this score? Just 1 point short. Why didn't the streamer say anything? Oh no. He's definitely losing the inheritance now. My mom didn't believe the score. She typed my brother's exam number, again and again, but it didn't change. My brother noticed something was wrong. He rushed over, pushing my parents aside, to check for himself. Seeing the screen, his face went pale. "This can't be. The system must be wrong. I want to check my exam." I asked calmly, "What did you choose for the first math question?" He froze. "The exam is over. Who would remember that?" "Really? Didn't you have a perfect memory?" I said with a cold smile. I had checked my brother's exam before. He hadn't learned the basics well, and he usually got the first question wrong. His face darkened. I asked again, "What was the subject of the essay?" He stayed silent. Meanwhile, our conversation was still being live-streamed. The comment section exploded. He can't remember a multiple-choice question, but he forgot the essay too. Even someone with a poor memory can remember the essay, and he still calls himself a genius with a perfect memory? My brother angrily cut the live stream, demanding to check his exam. My parents had to pretend to agree, to calm him down. Mom turned to me, angry. "What's wrong with you? How did you only get this score? You usually do so well." Dad raised his voice too. "Raising you was pointless." I pretended to look confused and said, "I usually get this score. The one who lost his edge isn't me. It's my brother." Mom seemed like she wanted to say more, but stopped. Dad asked harshly, "Didn't you finish your exam?" I nodded calmly. Yes. I had a stomachache, so I could only do part of it. Mom glared at me. You useless thing. You just mess things up. Then she turned to my brother to calm him. It's okay. You can retake the exam. Let your younger brother take it too. Next year, we'll get the top score and settle this. I replied directly. Sorry, I won't retake it. As soon as I spoke, Mom scowled and said, with scores this low, how can you have a future? Dad joined in. Exactly. With scores like yours, you can only go to a private school. And private school is expensive. I'm not paying for you. My brother coldly cut in. You only scored 1 point higher than me. What's there to be proud of? If not a private school, then where will you go? I'll study abroad. The school already sent the acceptance letter, I said calmly, looking at them. Mom froze. What? When did you apply for this? Last summer. My teacher saw my English scores were good, so she suggested I take the exam, I explained. My homeroom teacher was the light of my life. She noticed I always ranked first, in small exams, but didn't do well, in the big ones. That's why she advised me to consider studying abroad if I failed the university entrance exam. In my previous life, my parents stopped me, and I missed the chance. This time, after being reborn, I immediately contacted her to apply, and the school accepted me. Mom sneered, even if you get in, it's useless. If we don't give you money, how will you study? You have no choice but to retake the exam. You must take it, with your brother. I said calmly, it's okay. My homeroom teacher already agreed to lend me the money if I go abroad. My mom was furious. How dare you? I'm grown up. No one can control me forever, I said. She ran to lock the door, shouting, if you try to leave today, I'll break your legs. She pointed at me. You were born to serve your brother. Without him, you wouldn't exist. We raised you to obey him. Whatever he does, you must follow. You have no right to choose. Fine. I laughed, pulling the phone from my pocket, and pointing the live camera at my mom. Everyone can see. This is my beloved family. My parents never loved me, the way they said, and I don't need to stay here anymore. Amid the confusion of my parents and brother, I grabbed the suitcase I had prepared, ready to leave this fake home. Mom tried to stop me, but she suddenly fainted. At the hospital, the doctor diagnosed Mom with leukemia. My brother was the only suitable match for the bone marrow donation. Tears running down her face, she pointed at me angrily. It's all your fault. Why aren't you the one who is compatible? I leaned down and whispered into her ear. It was supposed to be me. But did you forget? When we were kids learning martial arts, I won first place, and your son couldn't even do the basics. You asked me if I wanted to give my body's potential to him, and I agreed. Her eyes widened, her voice trembling. You knew everything? I smiled. This is just the beginning. Enjoy it. After going abroad, I didn't need financial help from my homeroom teacher. Because after that live stream, my account gained over 1 million followers. I used this chance to start a travel channel by studying abroad and showing the world to everyone. Everyone knew my situation, so people sent donations during my live streams. That money, plus my earnings from streaming, was enough to cover all my living expenses abroad. 2 years later, thanks to my hard work, I was finally accepted into university. By now, I had become a fairly well-known travel streamer, and had started a small company with friends for international travel projects. The university also had a startup fund, and our project got priority support. My life was getting more stable and better every day. But one day, my company got a special order. The client wanted me to lead the tour. When I looked at the list, I immediately saw their names. Even after I moved abroad, they had relentlessly found me. I refused right away. Surprisingly, my father kept insisting, signing up and demanding I lead the tour. Even in my first year of graduate school, he still hadn't given up. I looked at my wrist, it was completely smooth now. 3 months ago, the red mark had suddenly disappeared. Back then, I guessed, maybe Mom was gone. Curiosity made me accept the order, this time. When I arrived at the airport, I was shocked. I couldn't believe my eyes. The silver-haired man in front of me was my father. He was only 53, but looked as old as someone in his 60s or 70s. Seeing me, tears welled up in his eyes. "Ryan, you finally came to see me." He reached out to hold my hand, but I just raised my hand to touch my nose, avoiding his touch. He pulled his hand back awkwardly. I quickly focused on my work, lowering my head to explain the travel plan for the next few days. He followed me quietly, his eyes empty, like a lifeless shell. I noticed his right leg was limping, and his hands were rough and full of calluses, like someone used to hard labor. His clothes were old and worn. His company wasn't big, but it used to make over $1 million a year. How did he end up like this? His voice was hoarse. "Ryan, aren't you going to ask about your mom and your brother?" My face stayed calm. "If you want to talk, then talk." He let out a long sigh. "Ryan, all these years, we've done you wrong. We made you suffer." I looked at him, my face still expressionless. "I know. That's why I stayed away from all of you. And I'll never forgive you." His face twisted, like he'd just swallowed something bitter. Still, he forced himself to speak. "Your brother. He refused to donate his bone marrow to your mother. All these years, she survived only with medicine. But a few months ago, she passed away. Before she died, she wanted to see you one last time and say sorry to you." I couldn't help but laugh. I didn't believe those words could ever come from her mouth. His eyes shifted a little before he quickly said, "She didn't exactly apologize, but she regretted spoiling your brother too much. Anyway, she's already returned everything that rightfully belongs to you." Hearing those lies made me feel sick. I let out a cold laugh and asked, "Returned what belongs to me? Or just couldn't steal it anymore?" Without waiting for his answer, I called my staff to continue the work, then left on my own. He grabbed my arm in a hurry. "I'm your father. You have to take care of me." Huh. So that's what he really wanted. Apologies? Regret? All lies. I shook off his hand hard and walked away without looking back. Much later, I heard from an old classmate what really happened to them. The day I exposed everything on livestream, my brother's fake image completely collapsed. Everyone saw he was just a useless man, living off others. My father forced him to donate bone marrow to our mother, and his health gradually deteriorated after that. Later, he was brought into the family company, but instead of saving it, he dragged it down into bankruptcy. They lost everything and had to move to the slums. After that, he got into drugs, owed a huge debt, and spent his days running from loan sharks, like a hunted animal. In the end, people said he'd been sold overseas. No one ever found out if he was dead or alive. My mother grew furious over everything, and her illness got worse. My dad wasn't any better. His mind and body were falling apart. After hearing what my old classmates said, I suddenly understood. If my parents loved my brother that much, why didn't they force another swap to save him from that tragic end? The answer was simple. They only had one chance to do it, and they had already used it. for my college exam. The exam I ruined on purpose, after knowing the fate that awaited me. At that moment, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Everything from both my lives finally made sense. I felt lighter, ready to embrace a better life ahead.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.